It's Wednesday, June 17, almost 5 o'clock. Actually, I was up around 2 o'clock. I was curious to see if I can catch fish at the wharf. I went down there. In the process, I thought about intuition and logic. Logic has certain discipline or the way that it's supposed to be qualifying for the things to happen, like cause and effect. But there's intuition. Even if you're using the logic, you may think that, oh, there's something wrong with this, what I'm doing. So intuition is, to me, like beyond the logic, and there's a connection to fun. And Richard Feynman mentioned that he doesn't know what it is, but he liked to have fun, and it's crazy, but nobody understands. But he's with that often, and I know what he's saying. So the fun and intuition is something connected, and the intuition is also beyond logic. And there's a Kant saying, I think that was him, intuition without concept is blindness, I think, and concept without intuition is lame, or something like that. So we need to have a connection, and it's also related to my view about the brain and the heart. I said, use the brain, but listen to your heart and live with the mission. I'm not going to go into detail, but living with mission is like, thy will be done, follow the way. And Confucius said something like, what's the word? I'm trying to translate from Japanese to English. Follow what the mind desire, but not go beyond the boundary. So the mind is following, like a flowing with the, I call thy will, because it's the nature's way and the logical, and logical in the sense of quite right. And if you can do that, so mind functions as it should, because it doesn't go beyond the boundary. So you are functioning quite well. The same thing as the mind or the brain is functioning, and then listening to the heart. So there's alignment. And that is also linked to the way, and maybe expressed as you're following the mission of your life or finding the destiny. Lots of jumbles of funny words here, but that's one way I characterize the way to live. Intuition, logic, mind, or the brain, and the heart, and the way. That makes sense. So you're the master of your own destiny. That's the way to go. So that was the thinking of the logic and the intuition. I was just trying to clarify in my mind on the way to go fishing in the wharf, at the wharf. Very late, or actually it's, I think, almost 2 o'clock in the morning when I got there. And as I expected, because of the situation of the tide, the kawai, the fish that is very strong, was there. I saw it flashing from where I parked the car. It's only 7-8 minutes from my place, lucky. But Anyway, long story short, I figured out that's one thing I want to do, and I was fishing and catching fish. Wonderful. I was a little bit late to be there, but as I was catching maybe three, four fish, this guy showed up and we talked about, introducing him with each other. And he said he had some difficult time with wife, so he had to go out for work, and we shared some ideas. There's a little story there. And then I came back. I want to get to the core of this story. I went into bed after catching six fish. Then the mind started to wander. I met this woman, Julie, just a week ago, and I felt something very different than any encounter with women in my life. Said simply, I felt like falling in love straight. I didn't tell her that, but I was watching and talking and feeling that, wow, this is amazing. I never felt like it. Anyway, we had a nice time. She's living across. I went there by riding the kayak, and then she came and we met and talked at the beach. Wonderful sunny afternoon in the winter time in New Zealand. And I went to her place because she invited me. I wasn't sure if I should leave, but I think we had a good feeling. Again, the long story short, I was happy, but I was also troubled. We met with each other through this internet website, but she said she had seen me and met before, and I sort of remember that when I saw her on the web, when it popped up, because she was checking my profile, and then we communicated. That was just about 7, 8 days ago. And the next day she responded, and I said, I want to chat. And she responded by giving her phone number, and I thought, wow, that was very interesting. And the next day, we couldn't meet because she had some arrangement the day after we met. And that's when I went there across the channel by the kayak. Just 10 minutes, 15 minutes ride by the kayak. I thought it was kind of unique and interesting. Again, sorry for the long story, but I want to kind of go through this. So we met and I departed, and I had this confusion in my mind because I have to leave in 3 months or so back to the States. I'm here in New Zealand because of the lockdown, and usual 5 months is becoming 10 months stay, experiencing the winter time. And because of the situation in the States, I was drifting away from living in the States already. And then the situation came to the point that I want to explore living more in this town because I have more friends than any place else, having fun. At age 72, on one hand, I thought I need to do something about what's going on, and I thought about writing books or sharing the thought and on the YouTube and Facebook, whatever, so that I'm connected. But at the same time, it's beyond my power. But I still wanted to do something. So, bottom line, I wanted to stay more time in New Zealand. So the circumstance changed. Originally from Japan and leaving Japan, moving to the States and living there for 30 years more. Now the tide is shifting in my older age. I also wanted to have some clarity in my life. I had a relationship with women in the States, but it seemed like she wanted me to be in New Zealand to be happy. She said that. And that kind of connected to my exploring the possibility in New Zealand by meeting women, find what can be done. So I met Julie, and I was attracted, and had this feeling that, well, falling in love. Never had this in my life, I don't think. Anyway, that's how I felt. But since I have to leave, we talked a little bit. She mentioned when I talked to her the next day of this meeting, I shared that I'll be missing her because she said she has to go to Auckland and they won't be back. So it's going to be 1 week later. So I shared the sense a little bit. And she know that I am leaving and then we'll be back. But she asked that a little bit in the conversation. I said that I'll be coming back as quickly possible, but because of the renewing of the green card, it takes time. She asked how long, and I can tell it's because of the government stuff, and she didn't ask much further. And that's certainly is the issue. And we are just meeting once, so we are not to say anything more, but just to get the feel of what's going on. But instead of, well, this is the question. She may have changed her mind and she may think now that, without knowing what's going to be happening, what's the point of this relationship? And it makes sense. So that's part of my vulnerability. One is that this meeting woman is beyond my control. It's like she's so much almost like my reason of being. And I feel like, wow, never felt like this. I wanted to do everything I can to be related, connected. But having lived long enough, I know that, I have to accept the reality and I don't want to disturb her. I want to be sincere and truthful. I mentioned those things. So there's a conflict inside of me that if she wants to do whatever and the way she wants to live, I'll accept that. But also part of me, or a major part of me, wanted to be with her. So it's beyond my control, whatever happens in future. So over the last 1 week after that kayak encounter, I've been going this way and that way, reflecting all my life, different experiences with women, and trying to connect to my practice in meditation and quiet and calm mind. I went back and forth in different ways as if to live the whole life. This is not exaggeration, I don't think. The point is that I wanted to come out with some insight, understanding, the way. So I have to explore every direction. It's kind of like going through the meditation when I had done Vipassana. And ever since I learned the lesson that if you go through this whole existence put into some purpose, I'll come out. It happened on the 8th day of Vipassana, and I was happy to discover something. I'm not going to go into it, but that was an enlightening experience, spiritual. And since then, I have gone through some difficulty, but usually 2-3 days of thinking and going over everything, what to do, reflecting, I come out of it. So over the last 20 years or so from that Vipassana experience, I thought I found a way to deal with all the ups and downs of life and almost reinventing my life as needed. So now again, and this is not 2 days, it's been 1 week now. Today's Wednesday, so we may meet on tomorrow. So the time is here. After my call, she hasn't called me, but we said we'll meet on Thursday. I checked the weather. The weather is not good. It may be raining. I wonder what she may say. So that's where I am. And the reason of this talk actually is coming from here. I was in the bed and I thought about sleeping, and of course it was 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Then I think of her and finding me very vulnerable. Nothing I can do. So in my imagination, I developed this, which I have done before, like a meeting. I'm with her one-to-one. She's talking. She said she talk a lot, and I don't mind that. But I was expecting she's talking. And because we are both, I'm sure, a little uncomfortable about the situation, there's some awkwardness in the air. I'm expecting that to be the case. But she's talking in this imagination. In this imagination, I had the image of me holding her hand, assuring that our hands are together while she talks. She may keep talking, she may resist, I don't know. But I don't want her to go. It's okay for her to talk. So I put her onto my heart and hoping that she could understand what my heart is saying. And there, I had no idea. So I had this simulation in my mind, and I feel vulnerable still. I exercised a way to process, and I couldn't do anything because nothing works. It has to be genuine, and the word doesn't carry the feeling. I wanted her to understand what my heart says. So that's the gesture of putting her hand on my heart. And then feeling vulnerable, I looked inside of myself. And I was talking something like, just be with the heart. It's a funny expression, but I wrote a book even, Result from the Heart. And I said, use your brain, listen to your heart, live with your mission. Listen to your heart. And what does the heart say? I couldn't tell. So I thought it's beyond me, maybe. So be the heart that may express it. And then something happened. That's a long story up here, but this is the whole point of it. I am the heart. Then there's no conflict. You don't have to be the heart. Or to be the heart means you transcend of you want to be, but you and heart become one. And what happens? You disappears, and you are the heart. Heart is everything. Heart is, I felt, dimensionless, permeating everywhere, and I am it. It may sound funny, but when I thought about it, as if intuition, not the logic, and intuition is jumping the logic. I think I felt I jumped into being the heart, and there's peace, there's no conflict, and eternal silence. I thought, I felt everything is that, and every being, animals, whatever, and Julie too, or every individual, including the guy I met at the wharf, has heart. He has heart, but he is heart. And when we identify as heart itself, expressing or being the heart, there's no more conflict. I felt peaceful, and I thought Julie has that heart. And I thought, I felt we are one, we are heart. Whatever happens, it's just a symptom on the surface of the water or on the mirror moving. But at the core is this. So, no sorrow, no confusion. My experience in Vipassana actually was kind of like that. I had a conflict, I had a pain. I wanted to um, I wanted to get out of the pain. I struggled, and I felt like I should go to the hospital because it's so painful. But one afternoon on the eighth day, I thought, is it pain there because I'm trying to get out of the pain? And then this, they call banga, it's almost like explosion. I found my body shaking, and I saw the lights flickering, and energy from the core build up like a dynamo, and like in the plasma. And after it's gone, maybe 5-10 minutes later, I had a smile, no pain. There is Zen saying, if as you try to escape, you bundle yourself even tighter. And that's what I was doing. That's what I realized. That's why I came to this awakening spiritual experience. And that field or the dimension or the new awareness is peace, silence. I think that's pretty much the same as this sense I had about being heart. I am the heart. Heart is taking over and I'm there with no conflict. Before I had the confusion and trying to escape, find a way. The answer I found was already there. So we have heart and we have a life which is often disconnected, and we need to connect to the heart, listen to the heart, be the heart every now and then to make sense of the world, life, who we are at our core. It sounds weird and not quite right when I say things like that, because it sounds like a logical thing, but that's not what I am talking. It is beyond logic. It's there, but it's not there because we don't know it. But it's there. We need to connect to that and be the heart. I'm not aware what's going to happen. I cannot predict the future. As in the case of this man I met at the wharf, we all go through difficulties. My difficulty was unknown future with Julie. I don't have the solution for that, but I have a solution for that. It's a paradox. And that solution is that she's got the heart and I got the heart. So far as we are connected, we are one. Be happy, peaceful, calm. When I came up to this, if you call resolution, and I thought, well, that's good, so just be there. Then I tried to, yeah. I thought I would go to sleep. But here I am, after 5 o'clock, and I thought, well, if that's the case, let that be, and then at least I can use my voice memo to record this. It's an interesting experience about our foundation being what I use the word heart. It's just a word. Doesn't mean anything without experience. So, hope that force would take over as needed, as I have access and have that other foundation in whatever I do, including the relationship with potential future relationship, whatever that is, with Julie. Julie, without your knowing or your knowing, I found you attractive, and I felt like I've never felt like this before. thought this must be love, true love. But I don't know. I was attracted, that's for sure, and I was confused what to do. But as I mentioned, I want to be sincere and truthful, whatever the future is. We may be different, but it's okay. I accept, as I accepted the pain, and I'm not going to go out of the pain, run out of it. And I know a way to solve it by pure acceptance and connecting to my root. I don't know how well I can do this in future. The vulnerable sense may pop up, the spirit sense, whatever that may come. And you may, or I may have trouble, or whatever happens in life, health, accident, departure, sadness. But that's life. I certainly want to confirm to myself to be sincere and truthful in the sense that I would do my best as I have, whatever it takes. And I hope I don't lose this connection with being with heart, but it may happen. And the result is that from that, or you're being away, or me being away, whatever happens in the future. But I think there's some sense that I can see myself living being it at heart. And I want to say this to confirm myself. I'd like to maintain this connection to the last moment of my life. As much as the children is happy with the love of parents, knowingly or not knowingly, I have a heart connected to me. And that empowers me. I feel the energy and peace and the vibration in my body. The same kind of sensation I had when I went through that Vipassana experience. And that never left me. And I can access it sometimes much more easily than others. But I call this event that I went through and I'm going through right now would not be lost easily. And for that, I said enough. And I have a record of this. For whatever it's worth. If there's someone listening to this, maybe very odd experience of one man who is 72 years old, lived his life. It may sound like a joke, probably, Someone said subjectivity is truth, and someone else's talk with gibberish may not communicate, may not mean anything. But if you happen to be one of those person who listen to this much as I wish that man I met at the wharf, everybody's different. Everybody got the unique character and the way of life. May all beings be happy. My best wishes. Big smile. Happy life. Thank you for your time.